Singapore is frequently called the Garden City, and the parallels between our tiny island and a garden go beyond just the flora and landscape. In this clip, I will use this garden to show you a pressing issue the country faces: population growth. During the garden's early years, the community planted many plants and trees in the garden, and it flourished. Over time, however, everyone in the neighborhood was focused on work and achieving their dreams, so much so that fewer and fewer plants, flowers, and trees were being planted in the garden. Now, the garden is like Singapore, and the plants and trees her citizens. Now, the baby boomer generation of post-independence years are entering their twilight years, and from now to 2030, over 900,000 will turn 65 and leave the workforce. But we aren't producing enough babies to take their place. Likewise, the old plants and trees that gave the garden its color and character will soon be gone. And since the community didn't plant enough new plants to take its place, soon the garden won't provide enough shade, look as beautiful, or fulfill its purpose of being a garden. Now, this is when the neighborhood gardener, or in the case of Singapore, the government, has to step in to address the root of the problem. Now, to keep the garden robust and functioning like a garden, the gardener has to bring in new plants from other estates. Now, this, however, might give rise to some plant disharmony, as they are all fighting for the same sunlight and nutrients. So the gardener has to learn how to manage the different plants to help them integrate and coexist in harmony. Slowly, another challenge emerges. Now, while the plants of old provided lots of shade in the garden, the new plants have leaves of different shapes and sizes that give the garden a different dimension but don't provide enough shade. Now, this can be seen in the changing demographic profile of Singaporeans who have different aspirations from the generation before. Now, it is projected that in 2030, at least 2/3 of all Singaporeans will be in PMET jobs compared to half today. Once again, the gardener has to step in with plants from other estates to provide the necessary shade. A new worry arises. Given the old plants, the new plants, and the plants from other estates, would the garden be able to accommodate the increasing number of occupants with its limited space? Now, in 2020, it is projected that Singapore's total population will hit 6 million, with 4 million residents and 2 million non-residents. Now it's time for the neighborhood gardener to introduce the idea of vertical gardening to make the most efficient use of the space while not crowding out the plants. And the same goes for Singapore. Long-term planning for the population increase has already started, with land being set aside for 700,000 new homes, our rail network doubling, and more green spaces built near homes. Singapore is set to be a city in a garden, and with proper planning and support from its people, hopefully it will flourish just like this garden.